What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk about a little bit more of a speculative topic, and it is a short squeeze. Especially it's been floating around on Twitter and other sources such as StockTwits saying that there is going to be a short squeeze, and I do want to talk about that, where it could actually go and some factors that could cause a short squeeze. And for those that don't know what a short squeeze, I'm going to break it down for you as well. But before I get into any of that, you guys know the deal. Smash the thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships. Link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. Greatly appreciate that. With that, let's get right to it. So I just want to start off by going over what is being said on Twitter. So you can see right now this is coming up saying that 0 shares are available to short. So I'm going to piece it all together. I am going to use Ortex. I personally like their platform, and I do feel that their short information is always up to date. But regardless, take it how you see that. Right now, short interest, I do see it as 1381, up roughly about 4% from 1 week prior. The utilization is 9640. So this is where there's a little bit of a discrepancy. This does indicate that there is 0 shares available, and based on Ortex it shows as 9640. And for those that don't know, ultimately utilization shows how many shares are available to short. So right now 9640 shows that 96.4% of the available shares to short are currently out. And so utilization is a very important part of a short squeeze, especially the higher the number, and based on this it is technically showing 100% because it is saying that 0 shares are technically available, whereas this is 96. So regardless, even 96 is relatively high. So I'm going to piece that together again with everything else. Day by day change actually did increase by 0.22%, which works out to be 249,000 additional shares being shorted. So other than utilization, cost to borrow. So how much shorts are continuously paying to maintain their position. So this is where if you piece it all together, a higher cost to borrow rate is ultimately a little bit more incentivizing for a short squeeze. So as you can see though, cost to borrow minimum is 11.31. The average is roughly about 20%, and the high is around 32%. So hypothetically, even 20%, shorts are paying roughly about 20% to maintain their position. So this is where, again, adds into the overall squeeze. So a couple of different factors that you do need for a squeeze. So you need a relatively high short interest rate. So right now, 1381 is not too high, but again, given the circumstances, it'll do. Utilization is relatively high, and cost to borrow, again, there's been higher circumstances, especially it was roughly around 80% at some times as far as the average. It is relatively low considering it is now 20, but even if you compare it to other companies, they're paying basically about 0.5%. So 20% is definitely relatively high. So this is where people are talking about hypothetically a short squeeze. So for those that didn't know anything about a short squeeze, hopefully this did give you a little bit more of a basic information. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll definitely answer them. But again, it comes down to it. You need a good catalyst or something, some surprise to come that will force the shorts out. And that is one thing that you definitely do need. And because when there is a known catalyst, such as a delivery event for Lucid, for instance, shorts know that in advance. So they can definitely start to scale out by numbers, right? But when it comes down to a surprise, when there is unexpected news that comes out, this is where it catches the shorts off guard, where it can lead to a short squeeze. So I'm just going to talk on some catalysts that could potentially cause a short squeeze. One of which is this. So we all know about their earnings, and I did recently do a live stream with Lucid Motors and Bears Workshop. We talked all about 2021 deliveries, 2022 deliveries. Highly suggested you taking a look at that. We go over everything and gives us a good representation of what possibly could come from their earnings. And so when it comes down to their earnings though, we all know that they're going to be doing their 2021 deliveries as far as with their production versus delivery actual amounts. Also, they will be giving guidance on 2022 numbers. Very pivotal, and again, there's a lot of things that could go right or wrong, especially in that circumstances. I'm not here to go over that. I'll do another video on that if you need. But regardless, there is a lot of good catalysts that could come from their earnings. So again, this is one factor that could cause definitely a short squeeze, especially more so in their guidance. Lucid is a smoking gun, and especially during their guidance on a company that is going to have exponential growth, their guidance is going to be very key, and that could be the surprise factor that could cause shorts out. So that is one thing. So in addition to that, there's a little bit more of a short-term catalyst that could cause shorts to close out their position, because again, the anticipation and fear that's lingering around this event is relatively high. So you can see Thursday, February the 10th, it does look like CPI data is coming out. That definitely is a lot of factors that the market doesn't generally like, because CPI data equates to inflation, which ultimately talks about higher interest rates. And so ultimately that is very bad for growth stocks. So, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to, for instance, the core CPI, the year over year, January, 5.9 is the forecast. Personally, out of everything, I actually think it's actually going to be below that. So if it is below the forecast, similarly what happens with earnings, this is going to cause a lot of growth stocks to exponentially go up very fast. And again, that is going to be something that is a surprise to a lot of individuals, and more specific, going back to this, the shorts. So there is a lot of different factors that could play into that. So again, that's more so on the short term for this upcoming Thursday. In addition to that, we also do have a big catalyst coming up, more so in this week and next week. So we all know this. I go over this almost every single video, the new round of 13F. So as far as institutions and hedge funds buying into Lucid, I'm just going to sort this based on the shares. So you can see the big players, so PIF, Vanguard, Franklin, and there's also Blackstone and BlackRock and everything like that. So technically every 3 months, they do submit new 13F. So we can see right now, November the 9th, BlackRock technically submitted their 13F. 3 months from now is going to be February the 9th, give or take 1 or 2 days. So again, BlackRock is hypothetically going to come out and say whether they added, subtracted, or maintained their position. If they do add to their position, that is going to be a very good catalyst for a lot of Lucid investors to jump on board, add a lot more momentum, and again, it'll hurt a lot of shorts. In addition to that, there is this. So you can see November the 12th, and 15th. So hypothetically, it'll be in the second week of February. PIF, Vanguard, and Franklin, the big three, are all going to submit their 13Fs. That is going to be a iconic day, especially if PIF, Vanguard, and Franklin actually do add, because you can even see Franklin from their last 13F, they increased it 13,000%. So that again shows that there is a good likelihood that they can add, not necessarily just Franklin, but Vanguard and PIF as well. So these are also amazing catalysts that could cause, again, shorts to close out their position. You get my drift when it comes down to this, right? There's a lot of good catalysts that could cause nice surprises to cause shorts to get out. And in addition to that, my last thing I do want to bring up is more so with this. So the Dream Drive. Dream Drive is very iconic, and I personally feel that it is one of the biggest things that sets Lucid apart from other companies. And they are doing a lot of good advancements as far as the updates, and a lot faster than expectations. And so you can see all the features that is right here. And if you are very curious about this, I did a video with Lucid Motors, so definitely take a look at that as well. It breaks it all down as far as costs and what it actually means. So this in reality is a very good catalyst, especially if they come out with an update with an unexpected feature that could benefit a lot of Lucid investors and its shareholders. That will be a huge deal, because when this came out, especially more so features, and I believe it was 1.1.7 more so, or possibly 8, when that did come out unexpectedly, the stock price did go up roughly about 2% that day. So that is a very iconic thing that could cause shorts to close out their positions. And so again, like I said, I do want to talk on where hypothetically this could go if there is a short squeeze. So you can see roughly about 80,000 shares are currently being shorted as of right now. It is fair to say that not all of them will close out their position, give or take roughly about 50%. So give or take around 40 million is going to most likely cover in the case of a short squeeze. And so I'm just going to show you this. So almost on a daily basis now, it does look like we're getting roughly about 30 million as far as overall volume. So you can see the live ticker to my left, or at least it was live during market hours. So you can see there was 22.5 million as far as volume, whereas the average is 52. So over the last couple of days, it has been relatively lower, but regardless, if 40 million shares were to be closed out in one swift action throughout one day, that could cause big things, because we all know what happens when that amount of volume causes it to go down. Right here on this very much red day, there was roughly about 67 million shares being traded on that day. So again, it goes to show on how much it hypothetically could go up. Keep in mind though, when they do close out the position, there's still going to be day-to-day interactions. Institutions, retail investors are still going to be jumping on board. They're going to see the massive momentum that is going up, and they're going to jump on board as well. So hypothetically, if we do, just for argument's sake, bump that up to 60 or 70 million shares just being in one swift action throughout one day, we can easily go up roughly about 30%. That's how I see things, give it or take again. And keep in mind though, that is just one swift action of them closing out the position hands down. That's not even factoring in the catalyst, whatever is causing that to go up. So again, for argument's sake, if I'm just going to talk about this, if PIF does add, let's say 10 million shares, that is going to cause a ripple effect. That is going to cause everyone and their dogs to want to get into Lucid. So again, like I said, hypothetically, for argument's sake, it could be 30%, but with that catalyst, I can see 40% or more. So given the circumstances of where we are on a price point, it can easily get to $40, $44 plus, or whatever it might be around that time frame. So that's where I possibly could see things. And again, there is a lot of good catalysts that could easily cause a squeeze in many different aspects. With that, let me know your thoughts on Lucid and a short squeeze in the comments below. And again, if you do have any questions about a squeeze, about Lucid, whatever it might be, or if you have video requests, leave them in the comments below. If you haven't already, smash a thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that as well. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom screen. Greatly appreciate that. With that said, let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.